Hello. Testing out some new software, so bear with me. Don't even know if I'm going to release this, but we'll see. This is the first time I'm using this software, OBS. I'll do a quick skull study while I'm testing it out, see what's going on. See if I like it, see if I get the hang of it. Start off relatively light, actually. So the screen's a little easier on the eyes. Make it a little bit darker. And if I want to add highlights, they'll show up a lot better. Not much of a talker, so there'll be a lot of silences, but first time recording, so just get this sorted, see how I like it. Let's try to get most of the big shapes down first before doing all the details. It's already a lot of problems, but still early. Just get this bump sorted out. Lighten up some of the lines a little bit. Already have the opacity set fairly low for my brush, so I can get darker lines on top if I need to. I keep it fairly light. This jaw's a bit too long. Indicate some shadows here real quick. So I hope things pop. Doing this fairly low. The size is fairly low, so just a simple study just to test this software out. I can always blow it up if I need to. Or I could just straight up nuke it. Very lightly fill in the eyes. Not going to do the teeth just yet. I'll just do some lines just to indicate the jaw. Fairly happy with the proportions. Nothing seems very out of the ordinary, so I don't like this cast shadow, so I'll just get rid of it. Let's do this. Decrease the size of the brush. I'll actually lower the opacity a bit more. just enough so that I can see what's going on. I'll start throwing in some darker shapes or some more refined shapes. I'm not trying to be exact, but still want to get some accuracy. Probably go over this a third time after to do all the finer details. Indicate the temple. Zygomatic arch. Goes right to the back, almost to the back on this, on the angle of this photo. Not sure if this is a real skull or a replica. It's probably a replica. Be a bit morbid if it was a real skull, but people do donate their bodies to science. Bit of a bit angled here, low curve and slight angle until it gets to the chin, and it curves up like this. Values are fairly light, but it's basically reversed like so. Just indicate the midline, the halfway line. Still recording, yes we are. Pretty simple program, this OBS. Took me a few minutes, took a few throwaway sample stuff just to make sure I know what I'm doing. Not like I know any more now, but I know enough to at least try out a simple recording like this. A lot of dark value in here. I'm not going to make it too dark though. Arms are itchy. Some darker values inside the nasal cavity here. There's a lot of little bones in here. It's not really important to know them, but, well, at least as an artist. You can tell the eyes are a little off. I think this should probably do this. Actually, you use the warp a bit. Shouldn't really bother using the warp or anything like that, just sort of working in, but looks a little bit better. Actually, it looks a lot better. It looks way better. Press Control H to get rid of all the marching ants around a selection so you can see it better. You can see what you're doing a lot better. It's good when you're transforming stuff. I'm just going to very lightly indicate some form. It's always an awkward area, this, because there's a lot of changes in planes. Light source is coming from here, so this plane is in shadow because it's facing away from the light source. This is slightly turning away, as well as change in plane up here. There's a bit of a gradient coming like this, or like this. Just a little bit of plane shift here, tiny bit here, just a lot right here. Of course, all this is in shadow. All this. Of course, there's reflected light coming this way as well. Just do this real quick. Kind of see the little hole for the ears just above the mastoid process here. Slight shift here. There's a couple little things here, but shouldn't worry about them right now. Increase the size, and I'll just indicate the shadows quickly. You can probably tell now I'm using a chalk brush. Gives me some nice textures. I can do stuff like this, put it like way big and just sort of stamp it. Get some textures like that and use that to paint some teeth on whatever subject I'm painting. You can sort of see the opening at the back of the orbital here. Makes a nice dark value. That's where the optic nerve connects to the eye, because it's not just a cup. There has to be some kind of an orbit so the optic nerve can get to the eye. Otherwise the eye will just sit in the skull and do nothing and be useless. Very lightly indicate the teeth. There's 3 teeth there. You got the canines, bicuspids, and you got the molars. Big teeth. Starts curving around so you can't see everything. Oops. Every now and then Photoshop does this thing where I'm trying to do this and it just dark black. Don't know why it does that, but simple fix, no big deal. Bouncing between tasks here. Finish doing this. Actually, make this more of a gradient because it is a very gradual thing. The cranium is basically a sphere, so any light that hits it is a lot more gradual. Just lighten this line a bit. Lose the edges slightly. Just watched the latest Godzilla film, King of Monsters. It's pretty decent. It's pretty good. See Ghidorah and Mothra and all that. My brother was a little disappointed. He was expecting to see King Kong. Although he was there briefly, you could see like a little snippet of him, but I think they're saving him for a later film. King Kong versus Godzilla. That could be interesting. actually lighten this line. Doesn't need to be that harsh. More of a gradient here as well. Alright. Let me actually, don't need the whole canvas. Oop. There we go. Actually now, there. Now I can still move it around because I made it too small. Now one thing I noticed that is interesting with a lot of skulls is that it's these little holes, these foramen in the skull, and they're almost perfectly aligned, going up and down. One right above the eye, like directly on the eye socket. Okay, I'm making these a bit too dark. Right above the eye socket. Another one below the eye socket, pretty much even, and then another one on the maxilla, or the mandible, sorry. This is the maxilla here. And this is the mandible. Just very lightly indicate it because you can't even see it on the photo. I'll just throw in some details for the teeth now. Some darker where the teeth connect to the skull because there's nothing there. So you're basically seeing all the shadows inside. I think I put too many teeth, but I can fix that. There we are. Yeah, problem solved. Sort of curves downward. Like so, and then you have it going like this. Clean this up a little bit. Still got the initial circle for the shape of the skull. There we go. It's sort of, it's almost like the teeth are, okay. It's almost like the teeth are making little indentations on the skull as they go inside. Stop it. Come on. It's annoying because it keeps doing it when I'm trying to do soft stuff and it's just but you just work with it. Put too many teeth again. Easy fix. shadow underneath sort of helps define the edges here, especially right under the chin. Quickly indicate the sutures, separate the different parts of the skull. Can't really see much of it though, so I'm not going to worry too much about it over here. It's pretty prominent over the nasal. It's like that into the eye socket, and then you can see it slightly going towards that opening. Sutures going up towards the forehead here. It's actually interesting because the skull used to be, this part of the skull used to be split. If you look on babies, this whole area is almost open and then sort of closes as the baby gets older. That's why it's usually advised you make sure you keep the baby's head on a decent surface so they don't get a weird shaped head when they grow up. Still recording. Everything's good so far. Just use some hatching just to help indicate some form. This whole area is quite dark, so it seems like the light source is coming more from the bottom, like this. Just going to actually zoom in for this. Cute little light source, or not the light source, but the light edge here. I'll make it pop a little bit. There's one over here too. I didn't even add enough shadow over here. some more dark edges here so I can do that. This is actually lit up a fair bit over here. A little bit of a light edge curving outwards. Okay, try again with the shadows. Just indicate them very, very lightly. Seems like there's multiple light sources because you've got a very hard shadow here. It looks like there's multiple shadows going out like this. I mean, it does make a little bit of sense. It is indoors. There's often multiple lights shining everywhere. The lighting on the skull itself is pretty decent, so it makes for a decent reference image. Just make this a little darker, make it pop a bit more. Actually, skull's a bit tilted more this way. And I'm looking at it. It's not perfect. Looks to me like the mouth is a bit too low. See, this area is quite large, but I suppose that'll do for now. This is just a test anyways, so maybe more videos to come. Yep, until next time.